Hello. Welcome. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, this meeting will be held remotely. It's the Urban Forestry Committee meeting. To kick off with some introductions and housekeeping, I want to go alphabetical by first name for some short introductions.
Right. My first.
Yes.
Um, hey everyone. My name is David. I'm a tree warden for Somerville and committee member. Creeping right through the winter. Excited to be here.
Hi, my name is Doris Jenkins. I'm a Somerville resident and member of the committee.
You come next. Hey, my name is Joelle. I'm a tree enthusiast and committee member.
Everyone, my name is Leah Grossman. I'm a landscape architect and one of the co-chairs of the committee. And I heard someone today say they saw buds starting to have some action. So I need to get out there and investigate, but it's a promise of things to come.
And
That is exciting. Um, I saw some buds too today, but not tree buds. I saw the beginnings of the Spanish bluebells invasive species that pops up into my raised bed garden plot, which I was not super excited about. But I'm Rob, associate member of the committee and aspiring urban ecologist.
howdy. My name is Michael Hendricks, committee co-chair, tree enthusiast, and I feel like the birds in my neighborhood are getting louder. Uh, Suzanne, is that you?
Hi, Suzanne Warner, committee member. And I'm Vanessa Bukui, senior urban forester and landscape planner, and enjoying the warmer weather for sure.
Signs of early spring here in February. Um, any housekeeping matters folks want to bring up?
Um, I did not get any more applicants for our UFC position for the youth member. So I'm trying to see if the mayor's office will let us proceed with interviews for the one candidate we did get in January. Um, I have not heard back yet, so I'm hoping but not hopeful that we will be able to move forward. They've put a little bit of a pause on other recruitment right now while they're trying to figure out sort of how different I don't know. They're reviewing the committees in some regard, but it's unclear in what regard. So a few months delay. And speaking of membership, Doris, would you like to
Uh,
share?
I have to share that I am sadly moving to Medford, and so I will be stepping down from my position on the committee. But I am excited to, get involved with some of the folks over there, and I think I have almost a 3-year tenure on this committee now, so just want to say thank you for everyone. It's been a nice time, and I know with all my wedding and work stuff, I haven't been able to be super involved this last year, but that's how life goes. So look forward to seeing what you all keep doing and wish you the best, and I'll definitely keep posted.
Thank you so much for being part of the committee, Doris. As I said, we will miss you. You bring a lot of special expertise, and it's always great to hear what you have to say and contribute.
I'll definitely comb my brain too for who else I can send over.
Okay, thank you.
Marion and Tori, I see you've joined. Do you want to do a quick introduction?
Hi, I'm Tori Antonino. I'm on the Urban Forestry Committee. I'm an ecological landscaper and excited about the snow melting.
I'm Marion, and I'm a member of the Urban Forestry Committee. And I am also, I'm like starting to get excited about spring. I know it's still a whole month away till things start popping up, but still.
Right. Any other housekeeping? Didn't have anything either after looking through the minutes. Vanessa, is this where we should open it up to potential folks to join for resident concerns?
Sure. I'm gonna promote. See if Anne wants to be promoted to a panelist. She's coming. And do you have any resident concerns? Guessing not, or you're muted, but thanks for coming.
And I saw you raised a hand. If there's, you appear muted to us. If you want to drop a message in the chat, or if there's anything you want to bring up for resident concerns, feel free to
Great.
post a message.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. That's all that matters. I don't know why the video is not working, but I would like to. I think you all know that about 90 Washington Street, so I don't have to go into much detail about that. But about 10 days ago, I drafted a letter to a foundation that I know is concerned about both housing and the environment. And I wrote as a tenant in subsidized housing who does not have financial expertise in real estate and municipal issues. I made that very clear. And I sent it to Miles Byrne, the vice president from Corcoran Jennison, who has been the advocate for tenants and Corcoran Jennison. And he has grabbed onto it. And today at coffee hour, he read a drafted letter, a letter he drafted to our new mayor, suggesting that were we to think in terms of acreage, and particularly perhaps 1 acre of land, as it valued at $8 million, that it might be then possible to raise money for the green space. So he's in real estate, and I'm trusting that he's working on this, that this idea might be feasible. He also drafted a letter in my name that he thought would be good to send to foundation. And the question would be, would I send these letters alone, or would I send them with a nonprofit, a local nonprofit that has an interest in preserving the environment? And the other part of it that has not yet been brought up is how this land, the green space in particular, the berm and the parking, which would remain city property, would be overseen going forward, and would be protected from developers. So in other words, we would not be caught in defending the green space. which is it was definitely my concern. So I wanted to just tell you that this had been happening. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. I've tried to be as short as I can be. But what I certainly hope is that the Somerville Redevelopment Authority would be open to changing the financial package that's currently operating so that the green space was financially protected, because the Somerville Redevelopment Authority sees the entire space as real estate and expects to recoup a $28 million legal debt through the real estate. So if packaging were the way that we could preserve the green space, that's what I'm pushing out there. And I'll stop there. Any questions? I'm happy to try.
Thanks for joining in. Just to add, I think most, if not all, folks kind of know that it's talked about the potential of loss of green space if the property on Washington Street were to change hands into private property. And so appreciate the update. Yeah, Vanessa.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Anne, for sharing. I didn't know any of that really, but I was aware that the city currently has a call out for a development partner for this parcel. So I just wanted to share that with folks. I'm sending a link. I've linked in the chat to information about it. There are proposal deadline of April 10th. So I think the idea is that it's not a specific, like you have to build this, it's you come to us with a plan and we'll talk about it. So I don't know how that would work with what you're proposing, Anne, but I have no idea, but that sounds cool.
It sounds interesting, yes, because I also didn't attend the meeting that was supposed to review with potential development partners. I wasn't able to go to that meeting, so I don't yet know who responded, but my intention was to contact all of them and to tell them about our concerns, but I also could use it as an opportunity to talk about financial support for maintaining the green space. I could do that, so that's very helpful.
And just to add to that, I believe in the document that Vanessa just linked, it does state in one of the objectives of the RFP I don't want to mince words here because I would say it more positively, but it wants a combination of the following land uses, in particular new housing, commercial space, but also green space. So it is written into the document that green space is a priority, which is good, but I think your approach to make that a higher priority is really important. So yeah,
Thank you.
Again, thanks for everything that you are continuing to advocate for.
Okay, thank you.
Anne, would you feel comfortable sharing that letter?
Do you want Miles' letter or my letter?
I'd love both.
Okay, something happened. Miles sent them to me, sent his drafts to me, and then all of a sudden I couldn't access them. So, and I'm having quite a few computer issues. I will do my best to get them both to you, Tori.
Yep, Tori. I threw that in the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying on top of this and coming to inform us.
Well, I mean, you're on the side of you guys are on the side of the angels, so you need to know because I mean the Somerville Redevelopment Authority has enormous power, and um, so we're trying to meet them now. Miles is now trying to meet them where they are, and that's hopefully going to make it a little better. We hope.
And could you share, if you have it in front of you, the name of the nonprofit that you're writing to, and also the other person at Washington Street that you're working with, Miles?
Miles Byrne, Byrne. He is a vice president at Corcoran Jennison. So to
Thank you.
me, the significance of this is his Corcoran Jennison vice presidency, because that says the developer is writing to the mayor saying, we are behind this. And that organizational capacity and the professional capacity is very important. So, and what was the other thing you wanted? Did I give you
Oh,
everything?
yeah, thank you. You were working with Miles and you were writing to
Well,
housing and environmental nonprofit.
I drafted my first draft. I looked up the Heights Foundation, and they're concerned. They link housing and the environment, which means they're thinking, I hope, about issues like what we're facing. So, but it's a draft. I haven't sent it, and it was just hypothetical. So I don't even know if it's on Miles' list of potential foundations. But also, I'm very interested in what local foundations local nonprofits would find this to be an interesting project. Because long term, it has a lot could be done with the berm and the trees in the terms of maintenance and not having just grass, but possibly other things growing. So there's potential for environmental enhancement if if we get to keep it, and if particularly if we get to keep the parking space. And that is the presentation we went to about the changes made it very evident to me that if 37 parking spaces is going to cause huge disruptions inside Cobble Hill, and very few people understand how disruptive it is going to be. I don't think the city even does. And so but Miles feels that if we go for the green space, we might be able to save the parking area. So I'm going with that. I mean, I'm not addressing parking, not because I don't think it's terribly important, but so have I answered questions?
Yeah, thank you so much for the update. I'm glad you found a partner at the property.
One last follow-up. Anne, do you have a counselor working with you on this? A city councilor?
Do I? No.
Yeah.
Um, I uh, I have major security issues to deal with,
Okay.
and I have found I don't hear back. I in writing about Cobble Hill, I don't hear back.
Huh.
So and I don't know if it's people write back to me and I don't get it, or but getting the right technical support and security support is taking up an awful lot of my time.
Okay.
And I also I have real trust issues with city councilors.
Okay. Okay, well, so keep us posted. You can reach out to me.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Any other questions for Anne? Vanessa, was there anyone else joining from the public?
We do have another person. I'm going to offer them to become panelists, but no pressure. If they don't want to. If you don't want to become a panelist, you can also ask a question. Oh, he's coming.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, I'm just here because I was curious about the native plants ordinance report that I saw on the agenda. That's all.
Excellent.
You're in the right place. If there's no other resident concerns, shall we proceed to updates from the city? And no strong preference here, but we could start with the native plant ordinance here.
I can do that. Let me open it. I have more time to click open. I'll try to talk and open at the same time. Doesn't always work very well. So I'm going to share the Native Species Ordinance report. As you all probably know, it's one of the requirements of the Native Plant Ordinance is that every year we provide a report of the percentage of natives that we planted in all the different area types. So I put that together. We planted a lot of trees in FY 25. I mean, trees, not just trees, a lot of trees, but also a lot of plants. Let me share my screen. And I will share this. Let's see, share. I will also send this out via email and post it on the website, but I just finalized it today. So, so here's the report. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, but tell me if you'd rather see more detail. This is the report for fiscal year 2025. So that goes from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. We had a bunch of plants planted by PSUF and a bunch of plants also planted by the engineering division. So this report includes both the plants planted by both departments. I've divided it out into the different property types and I listed the native requirement in that cell as well. So we have city parks, which the requirement is 75% native, streetscape, which is 50%. Oh, somehow I lost my street trees. Oops, shoot. Okay, good thing for the draft. I have street trees. I just must have deleted it when I was reformatting. So streetscape is non-tree related street plantings. That's a 50% native requirement. Bioswales is a 50% native requirement. Those are also along streets, but have different properties than just normal planters. They're Doris could tell us all about it, but it's usually taking in some of the storm water from the streets, I believe is what designates it as a bioswale. And then other city properties, so not specifically parks, but other properties. We have the different properties that are encompassed in this, in these plantings. The types of plantings, for most of them, it's all like trees, shrubs, perennials, grasses, ground covers, but sometimes some of those groups are missing. We planted a whole bunch of trees. I didn't get I have to keep saying trees because I do trees, but plants. You can see 12,000 plants were planted in city parks, almost 2,500 on the streetscape, 500, more than 500 in bioswales, 75 on other city properties. I will pull up and share with you the street trees as well, which was about 388, I think. This column shows the percent of those plants that were native. So you can see for city parks, our requirement was 75. We got 88.67% native. There were some non-native plants planted for survivability purposes and some aesthetic reasons. On the streetscape, we got this is shrubs, perennials, grasses, and ground covers, 97.9% native. That was all as part of the Spring Hill Sewer Separation Project. Our bioswales and our other city properties was 100% native, both of them. So that's pretty great. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second and find the street trees to show you, and I will add those in before I put this on the website. Any questions while I hunt that down?
I just want to say those numbers sound really good. Like, I'm really glad to see so much native planting.
Yeah, they're exciting. We're doing our best.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
congratulations.
Thank
curious,
you.
is that a big jump or a little bit of a jump from last time? Because those are so high.
We've been doing pretty good consistently. I will share my the 2024 numbers. I think this was before I had one planting set, and no, I think this is pretty right. Let me do two things. I'm going to share first my not quite as nicely formatted version that shows the street trees. So this is our FY24 numbers. Street trees, that can't be right. Oh. Okay, it is, sorry. It's just formatted so differently. So we planted 388 street trees and native 284 were native, so that's 73.2%. So again, much higher than the 50% requirement. I will put that in a nice format in the document. And then I have the 2024. Is this sharing? Did it change that what you can see, or is it still the same thing? Same thing. Yeah,
See the Word document now.
Oh, you do? Okay, sorry. I wasn't sure. Or if I shared my screen or the document. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is the 2024 version. And we also had very high numbers, actually even higher for lots of it. Again, it was like mostly Spring Hill sewer separation for the streetscape, which is almost all native. Let me just turn off this timer real quick. And then we did fill in some plantings with the pollinator action plan stuff. So that's why we started getting really high numbers last year or last fiscal year. Other city property, I guess it's slightly lower than 100%, but basically not. I think the ones that weren't, maybe it was like one tree or something. Street trees was still higher than 50%, but it is higher this year than it was last year. And city parks was higher, but it was much fewer plants. So, any other questions? I'll flip back to the FY25 version. It's hard to show you all of it and actually have you be able to read it.
This is so exciting, Vanessa. Just want to thank you for your efforts and commitment and success at doing this, and you and Louisa and all of PSUF, like, setting the bar. So, and I'll just say we're still looking for that unicorn, and I have thoughts. So
Okay,
after people have commented, I have a few thoughts on that.
love that. I am doing more crab apples and some of the cherries and stuff, which I know are still not native, but you've said that they're not the worst. So that's something. But I'm happy for any unicorn ideas. The unicorns, for those of you who may be newer, we're talking about, it's hard to get native, small statured trees that we can plant under power lines that are really tough and can withstand our tough conditions. So I have been doing more service berries and some red buds and
Yeah.
have decent success. Just making sure they are a little bit. I'm hesitant to plant either of those species in the very, very toughest conditions, but they've been doing pretty good in places I've been planting them.
I saw some on Somerville Ave, right?
Yeah.
Nearby the train tracks, right before Porter Square. Um,
Uh, service berries?
yeah, no,
Did
no,
I?
no, no. Redbud.
Red bud? Oh,
I thought,
maybe. I can't remember. Those,
I'll just share my unicorns now. So
go for it.
one of them is hop tree, and that
Mhm.
recommendation comes from Walter Kittredge. But it's like, who's growing hop tree? And maybe that's inspiration for our, like, I just have this like vision of like mini nurseries kind of like at the edges of parks. And
Hmm.
Stephen Nutter, who's now head of the sustainability department, has experience in that with Green Cambridge. So, we might have an ally there. And the other one, you might already be planting it, but do we plant sourwood? The oxydendrum
I
arboreum? I don't.
I have planted it. It's hard to find for some reason. And I forget if I thought that was more of a medium-sized tree, but I could be
20
remembering
to
wrong.
30 feet tall with
Oh,
narrow
oh,
crown.
that sounds good.
Sounds
Yeah,
with
sounds
with
great.
with wait, there's more. Known for its fragrant lily of the valley like summer flowers
Oh,
and brilliant red foliage. We
nice.
want to lean into aesthetics and
I love that.
olfactory adventures.
That sounds great. I would definitely plant that. And I have been looking for hop tree. It's on my list of would plant if a contractor will find it for me. I've not come across it yet, but I would love to try that. So if anyone finds any that are in the at least 1 inch caliper, but ideally two, I would jump at the bit to get some.
And male pawpaw. That's the other. But they don't sex till like a little bit later in life, but
Mm. Mhm.
possible.
Okay. Thanks for thinking of those. I see hands raised. I don't know if it's in order. Is Leah first? I can't tell. But
I'll jump in with one more idea. But also, for hop tree, are you talking about Patelia trifoliata? Do you know?
yeah, PT something.
Yeah.
Terrier? Yes. Yeah, that's the
Yeah. I've
one.
also been curious about that, planting it. I've never been able to source it either. But I have been trying to do a lot more sourwood. It's one of my
Hmm.
favorites. It can be a little sensitive. Um, so testing in parks first
Okay.
might be might be
I,
good, but
I'm pretty sure we got one at Junction Park.
yeah, I feel like there's one around. And then I was going to offer one more. A colleague in Portland, Maine at Parks has been planting a lot of single stem American smoke bush as street trees
Huh.
and had a lot of success with it. And I was like, what? How do I not know this? Like, let's go.
Wow. Okay. I've never seen them in that form. That's so cool.
Yeah, so I don't know if they have a good relationship with a nursery that's able to supply it, but that's one I wanted to put on the radar.
Okay.
Um,
Oh,
so distinct from its
cod.
Cotinus
Oh,
obavatus is the
mhm.
American smoke tree, not to be confused with Cotinus coeugria, which is the European one.
Okay.
So the American one and single stem. Usually it's a much more like shrubby,
Mhm.
has a much more shrubby form. So I haven't seen it, but I figured keep our eyes out, and if we can get one, that would be super cool because they're like incredible plants generally. They have like little tufts that look like it kind of looks like a mimosa tree if you're familiar with those, which are invasive, but has very cool, yeah, cool tufts. So I'll stop
Very
there.
neat. Love that. Cool. Jacqueline.
Hello.
Hi.
I guess I was just curious, and if there's a resource for this that you could point me to, like happy to look it up on my own. Um, but are there any native conifers that we include as part of our street trees or park trees? I was just watching a webinar about how conifers are really beneficial for like filtering out air pollution, especially ultrafine particles from cars and things like that. So I was just wondering what we have in our reserve that we use, if anything.
Absolutely. Great question. I would love to plant evergreens. Most of them don't have a good form for street trees, but I've been trying to push them in our parks as much as possible. I also like that they have like they're green all the time, obviously, hence their name, but they yeah, so they provide habitat and screening year round and the air pollution filtering. So I'm like really pushing them for art farm. And I tried to get some in Junction Park, but I don't think we ended up getting any. We do have evergreens on our list of trees we are promoting and wood plant. We have not planted a ton of them lately, but I keep them in mind for sure and do try to push them. Some of these are having a hard time right now, like Eastern White Pine has a tough time with our changing climate. What I'm really excited to plant and um, try to promote, but still haven't ever planted one yet. One day I will, is Eastern Red Cedar. I'm like dream of planting that. I try to find a spot for it. So these are the ones we that are native that we think about to varying degrees of success.
Great,
Thanks for
thank you.
thinking
And
of that.
also happy to see holly on that list. I know that's another one that's like great for air pollution. So thank you for
Mhm.
sharing.
Very, very welcome. Thank you. Marion.
I wanted to ask, and I know this is sort of kind of hopeless a little bit, but do you consider shade quality as part of of how you decide what trees look? And like, is there really a lot of potential for small trees like we're planting to provide meaningful shade?
I think there is. No, they don't, do you mean small in that they're always going to be small or small as in the size when I plant them?
Small as in we're planting them to somehow not get in fights with power lines.
That's not the right thing. They still can. A lot of the small trees are still can get 15 to 20 feet tall. If they grow well, they can provide a good amount of shade. And they are, maybe at most half of what we're planting. So we still have a lot of large trees as well that are planting. So it's not going to be meaningful in the same way, but it's something and every bit counts.
I mean, is shade a priority?
Shade is a priority everywhere that it makes sense. So if we put a canopy tree growing under a power line, it's going to be cut in a V cut anyways and be more dangerous for the public and provide less shade, and just not be the right fit for that space. Um, so in other areas, I basically always plant unless there's a strong request from a constituent that lives there for a non-large tree. If I can put a large tree in, I'm putting a large tree in. So shade is a priority in that sense. But I'm not going to plant a shade tree where it doesn't make sense to plant one.
Are there trees that can provide shade or denser foliage even without being particularly tall? Because like I remember walking in San Francisco, and of course it's a completely different climate, but I remember walking in San Francisco and encountering these big lines of trees that were not particularly tall, but that were like just like large, dense foliage. And they provided a lot of cooling benefits. And I'm just wondering whether there's opportunities for maximizing cooling benefits while still dealing with all the constraints that you have.
Yes, probably the ones that are coming to mind that are small but get dense and big are not necessarily native. So there's that contrast there. Like there's a bunch of cherry trees. The cherries have fairly large leaves and they get dense. So a cherry tree can get really wide out but stay short. So that's providing a lot of benefits. They are not native, however. Um, our native small trees are serviceberry and redbud, I think are the only two native small ones, and they don't get as dense necessarily. They both can if they grow healthily and well, they can still have a dense canopy. But they grow a little, at least service berries I've planted, they grow pretty slowly, so they're not doing a whole bunch yet. So time will tell on that. And the red buds, they have big leaves, but they're kind of not that many densely packed along a branch. So I don't know about the quality. Sometimes they do. We'll see. Ooh, there's our rhododendron. I can't think of other small trees that would sort of do all that and be native.
Is this
Laura?
perhaps something where, to the extent that we're planting non-native, we need to prioritize qualities in trees that our natives can't provide?
Basically, when I plant them is exactly that reason. Like cherries are known to do well in streets, and they can do that shade benefit and become sort of big in a wide sense, but not in a tall sense. So my like non-native small trees are typically cherry and crabapple, and then I'm doing less and less uh, Japanese tree lilac, which I just feel like always stays like a small like ball. It can get bigger, but it doesn't. So I only plant those in like really, really tough spots where I don't know that any tree could live, but hopefully if one lives, it's that guy. So I think I am. But if you have other suggestions, happy to hear them.
It sounds like a lot of work, no matter what. Like,
But all worth it. And fun. Mostly fun. Ori?
Yeah. I was thinking sassafras, and then I saw you did plant one. I don't know. I mean, sassafras as a street tree in a real shady spot, if we can, get one that's in a tree shape and um, that has really dense foliage and is, super provides that sort of shade. And in parks, I'm thinking I would just love to have a few more staghorn sumacs roaming about. Perhaps I've seen some that have already replanted on the backside of the high school. That used to be Staghorn sumac used to be all along the train tracks, and just glad to see some new ones. But I'd be interested in trying a few sassafras on the street, and I know they sucker. But I went to Morse Kelly today, or drove by it, and our two sassafras, they're not doing great, but they have maintained their tree form. And maybe because they are not doing great that they haven't suckered. Although you'd think a plant would sucker more if it wasn't doing well. Anyway, and right by the sassafras, if anyone wants a lovely uh, um, demo of a uh, juniper or an eastern red cedar, there's one right there, and it's a beautiful shape. It's quite conical. I think any sort of conifer that we would plant in a tree pit, we would need to like skirt it really high so it doesn't, you know, go out. It would have to, you know what I mean by skirting, like you'd have to prune it pretty high up.
Yeah.
But I was really excited to see the Ilex opaca at Junction Park. And like, I'd love to give magnolia a try in terms of like, I think their foliage is pretty dense. And I just think I feel like we have in our native species, the unicorn is out there, and again, I'll continue to think about it. Oh, look at you. Any on the street?
I have planted I planted one on a Magnolia Virginiana on Highland Road. The
Okay.
ones that I had available were multi-stem, so I couldn't plant them on like a normal small tree pit, but I did get
Yeah.
one. I guess not this fiscal year, but I have done that. And I planted a few in Lincoln Park too, so
Okay.
that they must have been the year of the other FY. But we got 14 magnolias in
Brilliant.
FY25.
Oh my God, brilliant.
Some was stellato, so not native, but most of them are
Okay.
Virginiana. I
Yeah,
don't
let's
know.
try to stick with those.
I think that was maybe a mistake, and they thought it was native because it's native to other parts of the US, I think.
Okay. And also pitch pine. I didn't see it in our evergreen.
Oh,
I mean, in our conifer list. I mean, I'm a sucker for pitch pine. It doesn't seem to have the same, doesn't seem to be prone to the same disease as the white pine, or at least isn't succumbing.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Is that a smaller tree?
No, no,
It's a big one.
It's a big one. Although they can stay small if they're in a compact area.
I'm
Like,
wondering if that's one that would like respect because they're very reactive. Like they're beach sand trees, so they would do
sandy.
well in poor soil.
Hmm.
And like the ones you see on the beach are the ones that are like blown all over the place. So I wonder if the wind of the world would keep them contained.
The wind of the world.
That's beautiful. Wind of the world.
Cool. Great thoughts, everyone. Happy to hear more if anyone has any more thoughts, or you can always tell me later.
I do have a quick question. Vanessa, when can we maybe get together? When's your next do we have new contractors for the spring? Is it a 2-year contract that we have?
Nope, it's a 1 year, well, it's a 3-year contract, but 1 year of planting and 2 years of maintenance. The bid is out now.
Okay.
Bids are due next week, I think. So I don't know the contractor yet. I gave them that large list of trees that I want and prioritize said, my new list has asterisks on and bolded the trees that I really want the most, which are like our native high value trees, and trees that we want to try. So it suggests to the contractors to focus on those, but last time I did not get a lot of them in the lowest bidder, so it doesn't force anyone to do anything, but it
Gotcha.
encourages them to do something. And at
Okay,
least,
well, if
at
it
the
ma-
very
if it
least,
ma-
it like spurs them to think about those trees.
yeah, if it makes sense to meet again, I mean, you've already sent them the list, but let us know if it makes sense to meet together as a SPAP. I mean, a SAP,
Sure.
species selection and planting protocol,
Okay. The list that I have is based on our last year's
based on the.
conversation that
Okay,
I put together then. Um, so I think we're good unless you
yeah,
have more nuances to think about.
okay.
Even last year, the ones that my contractor said were available, I then was like, "Can you please look for these?" And they
Hmm.
found some of them. So we're not it's not over yet.
Okay,
Even
okay.
if they'd say no. Like even if their bid doesn't come back saying they have a species available, there's still hope. Great. Well, I will fix this and send it out via email probably next week because I'm on vacation for a few days, but you'll get it soon. Thanks, everyone.
Congrats on so many natives.
It's exciting.
Shall we turn to private tree removal?
Can I switch to David so I can see what the status of that private tree spreadsheet is?
All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks, Vanessa. Oof. Send a request to share.
Sorry about that. I think I allowed you now.
So, not much to update as far as winter approved removals, just a couple. I couldn't remember if I had shared this previously, but there is a tree at 72 Powder House that is a little beanpole. Yeah, it's got a little tuft of life up at the top, but let's see if I have a better. Um, but there's a fair amount of decay right in the center, and yeah, doesn't make you feel warm and fuzzy. So yeah, there's a large pocket of decay there in the center, and that tree is coming out. Um, so Norway maple. Then there's a small, looked at a tree yesterday out. Oh, where is it? It's along the community bike path, but it butts up against. It's just basically a volunteer pear tree, but maybe not volunteer. I'm trying to remember where it is. Um, oh, what's the street? Howard's? No. It is right along, right in the back of Thorndike. Um, and they're doing work on the community bike path there. Um, But anyways, this is the tree. I didn't even take a picture of it. The one on the right here, it's deader than the doornail, and it will be coming out. About 5-inch DBH. And that's it. We have removals. Well, everything's been on pause since the snow, but our contractor is working through their portion of the removal list, and our team, the city, is going to be working through the removals that we've talked about last year, or in the last 7 months or so. And then also I'm working through the backlog of approved removals before I was tree warden. So there's still a fair amount of work out there. Nothing nobody's aware of, or aware of if you've attended the meetings. But as soon as the snow melts, there'll be some more activity out there. So don't be alarmed. Always feel free to shoot us an email, shoot me an email, if you have any questions about what's up. Yeah, it's all for city trees.
I switched to private trees. Okay. Looks like Mike updated the list quite a bit. I'm going to go through exemptions first that have been filled in mostly since September, and somehow I seem to have not sure if I informed you about this before, but it wasn't marked as such. So back in April, there was 2 trees exempt from 70 Line Street. They were declining. And then September on, quite a few trees, if I'm just showing the list quickly, that have been exempt for various reasons. Hazardous tree on Meacham Street, a tree of heaven on Morgan, declined tree at Mount Vernon, some Norway maples on Ossipee Road, a dead tree on Summit Street, an exempt Norway maple on Hudson, a calorie pear on Adams. Calorie pear is now an invasive species, so those are exempt now as long as they're under 24 inches. A Norway on Montrose, hazardous tree on Chester, declined sycamore maple, so 2 reasons for an exemption on Glen Street. Another dangerous tree on Highland Road. One that didn't need a permit because it was too small. Tree of Heaven and a smaller tree on Perry Street. An emergency removal on Dell Street. Dead tree on Curtis. I think it fell over after it was exempt. A Norway maple and a tree of heaven on Beacon Street. And then those at this property, 82 Beacon, they had the 2 trees were exempt, and then they are receiving a permit for 12 other trees, or yeah, going through the permit process. So we might see them again on another sheet. Central Street has a tree of heaven. That's a polar tree. I think that's supposed to be poplar tree on Dixon Street. That's falling apart. Yeah, poplar. I remember that tree. Poplar. Berkeley Street. Oh, your buddy, Leah. A birch tree with decay on the base. And a fire damaged river birch. That's sad. On Cameron Ave. That was a lot of just saying words. Any questions about any of these trees before I move to the permit applications? Seeing none, I'm going to go to 2025 first. These are ones I don't have listed as having told you about before. Some of them are violations. Most of them are still pending, so they're in the works. for various reasons. 31 Houghton is a violation there. Malik's working through. Grant Street has 4 trees. I think they're not haven't provided proper information yet for Malik to assess. Ooh, there's a lot here. 259 Lowell Street was 10 trees. They're going to be replanting a lot of trees, so that's nice. But they're removing a lot too. 259 Lowell, I think that's the VNA building right next to the community path. There's a violation notice here on Autumn Street. They're working through the permit process now. 66 Oxford has a tree. Probably not enough information yet for Malik. 53 Chandler has Norway maples and a red bud, so seems like they might be, says they're waiver eligible. 59 Pearson was a violation, so they're gonna have to mitigate. An undersized tree, so sometimes people apply for permits when they don't need to, but Malik writes it down anyways, which is nice to keep track of. 24 Webster Avenue is a big development with like a very unmaintained area. They're basically removing all the trees on, no, most, yeah, I think all the trees on site. Some of them are like Norway maples and exempt species, but some are not, and they are going to be putting up affordable housing unit on the entire property, basically. So, like worked with them to get that set, but I think they actually did pay some. I just don't think he updated this. They paid money since they can't replant. There's a violation here at 60 Albion that Mike's working through. 14 Elmwood has 1 tree they're proposing to remove. Sorry, it's not filled in very much, so I don't have a lot to tell you about these properties. 185 Beacon looks like they're going to have to pay for if they remove trees. 45 Cedar Street, there's 4 trees being removed. They need to fix their planting plan if they don't want to pay money. 18 Spring Street, we have talked about before. It's a big conifer, a white pine. So they're going to need to pay the homeowner occupied amount or replant. 26 Fells Way West was a violation that's in process. 9 Summit Street had a tree, 14-inch. There's a lot of trees here, but I think this was before we put into place the owner occupant mitigation requirement, so it looks like they don't have to do anything. 69 Prospect Street has a 14-inch tree. 88 Powder House, an 8-inch eastern hemlock, so they'll be paying restitution for that, the owner occupant amount. 25 School Street will be paying a small amount as well. 59 Concord has a large Norway maple, but it's hazardous. So, and then 24 Summer, I know Malik was looking at today. So TBD on that one. And there are, so far for 2026, what is this? 7 permit applications. Here's the 82 Beacon. The rest of those trees that weren't hazards. Apparently they are doing something. I don't know what they're doing. 7 Bedford is removing one tree, and we'll pay some mitigation for owner occupant amount. 84 Avon. Still, I owed some money, I guess, to pay for part of their mitigation, and they going to plant 2 trees. We've got a violation at 20 Vernon Street that's in the works, but we should be getting money and or planting for 20 inches replacement. That's at the foam factory. If anyone knows the property. 86 Pearl Street. Oh, I think that was just issued recently. The tree was impacting their neighbor, so we've got a lot of problems with property insurances claiming they're not gonna renew people's property insurance if they don't get rid of a tree. So we fight back when we can, but sometimes they have a good rationale if the tree's really close to a property or has prior issues. We had another violation at 204 Washington Street. We found them when they were applying for a different permit, and there was trees that were there and they were removed, and they paid us $14,000 as mitigation. And then this is a property in Somerville, South Carolina, where Somerville is not even spelled the same. So that is not a real permit application. And that is that. It shouldn't be so long next time because we had a lot of catching up to do. But any questions?
Vanessa, how do most of these violations, maybe it's a Malik question, I don't know, but how are most of them recognized or figured out?
A good number of them, a neighbor reaches out and is like, hey, this tree is being removed or was removed. Is there a permit? Often it's even while the removal's happening. And Malik's like, there is not a permit. I've never heard of this property. And he goes out and gets the information and follows up with the property owners. Sometimes we also see it when other permits are being reviewed. We're getting good at, I think we've trained a good number of people in other departments about the rules, and if someone wants a driveway repave permit or some other permit, people will look at the history of the property, and if they see a tree was there and is gone, they'll flag it for us, which is great. So at least 2 or 3 recently have been found that way. Yeah, those are most of them. People telling us, keep your eyes open, people. We need help. Great. Well, thank you. Yes, Tori.
So how long is the violation in place? So, like, say, I have an example, but it was like 2 years ago, this tree got cut down and was not, I think it was in violation. So when does whatever the statute of limitations, is it like a year or 6 months from?
We don't have an official date. We have gone for violations that are at least a year old that we found.
Okay.
If we can prove that it happened after the ordinance was done and we find it, we can find the property owner, then we still go for it. So let us know. We'll go find them or try.
That someone in Somerville, South Carolina, applied for
It's ridiculous. And apparently that's the second time. So
well, maybe the idea will settle in and
yeah,
something
good. They
will,
think they need a permit.
they might, yeah. Shoot, I had one more note. Oh, has Homer street been replanted? Do you remember that?
I
That
definitely do.
yeah.
They have not told us they've replanted, so I don't think so.
Okay.
Blake's working on chasing down, like checking on tree plantings.
He's gumshoeing.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, and
But
it's like, well, how long? So similarly, how long does a person who's said they were going to plant, how long do they have until they plant?
per the ordinance, they have to plant the trees within 18 months, and then the tree has to be alive 18 months after planting. So
Okay.
far, I'm pretty sure of our hundreds of applications, not one person has told us when they replanted, which they're supposed to do. So it takes a lot of legwork on Blake's part to verify that a tree was planted and then go check them. So he's got a list going of who to go check. And we have given some people leeway, like they tell us up front, I can't plant it in 18 months. I'm still going to be building them, like
Yeah.
Clarendon, like we can't make them plant. We don't want them to plant the trees when it's not going to be beneficial for the trees and it's just a waste of resources and dead trees, or to be dead trees, basically a death sentence. But Homer better get their in stuff in gear soon. I don't think they've even done any of the property, whatever they're supposed to
Yeah.
do, building the property. So I don't know what we'll do about that.
Yeah.
Don't have a solution yet.
Well, I'll look into detective hats for Malik
Yes,
and you
please
can
do.
carry on. And one for you too?
No, I said please do, but
I will.
I do like sleuthing. It's fun.
It reminds me of the mayor's idea of telling people to rat their neighbors out about rats. Like rout out the tree killers.
We need people to tell us.
Yeah.
Can't be everywhere.
Weed them out.
Good one.
But we turn to the young tree mortality data from Cambridge.
That's you, Rob. You are on.
Okay, thank you. Do I have sharing capabilities?
I think so. I think everybody does.
Okay. I wrote down 6 or 7 quick brief statements just as some sort of background and to explain the data I'll show and what I think is interesting about it. It shouldn't take too long, but I kind of want to do that. So as most of you know, I'm a new member of the Cambridge Committee on Public Planting. At a recent meeting, we were a little bit of data was shared about new tree planting mortality rates for the last 2 years, every tree that they planted for the last 2 years, and whether it's still alive or not. The data was compiled by a couple of summer interns that Cambridge has. It's a position, those 2 positions are funded by the city. The chart I'm going to share was created by these 2 interns, and then I just supplemented the chart by highlighting the native species. And when I say native, I'm specifically native to Massachusetts. And the way I went about doing that was using GoBotany, which for those of you not familiar, it's a plant database run by Native Plant Trust, which is a nonprofit conservation organization. It's been around for more than 100 years. And it covers basically all of New England. The one thing that might be slightly interesting is that they aren't 100% in alignment with BONAP, which is another well-respected group that does native species. So I don't want to get into sparsing all the details about what specifically is or isn't, but again, this is coming from Go Botany, so that was just the way I decided to do that. There's an interesting discussion to be had about, I think, native versus, something that might be non-native, but it's been introduced and naturalized, and there's a whole bunch of reasons for choosing trees, but the particular interest for me was the native part of it. And so I'll stop there, but it kind of got my wheels spinning, and I have a lot of interest in thinking about some different potential grant opportunities. In particular, there's a biodiversity grant that the state just recently started funding, and I think is likely to continue to do more funding for. And I'm super interested in trying to maybe think about what are tree species that are being planted and how are they doing, and then figuring from there the next step, which of those are native, and then from there, maybe the next step would be, and which of those native trees, like, how do you prioritize the ones that have the most ecological value? And when I use that term, I mean support of biodiversity, as in insects, birds, other mammals. There's a whole bunch of possibilities here, but if you have thoughts or ideas, please let me know. I'd love to have people do that, and I'd love to pick your brain a little bit. Okay, so here's the data. I won't talk too much here. I'll just let you sort of read it through and comment if you'd like. But again, so here's a tree. This is how many they planted in the last 2 years, 179. This is the percentage of them that died. So in the case of the first one listed, the Kentucky coffee tree, non-native, 180 of them planted, all but 2% still alive. And then again, if it's highlighted in yellow, that means it is native to Massachusetts, according to Go Botany. And feel free to just shout out any thought or comment on a particular tree. And
Those
if you're,
sweet gums are really dropping like flies, and even worse, willow oaks, apparently.
yeah, I think it was interesting to sort of see which trees seem to be doing better than others. What I think would be harder to parse out, but again, would be, again, lots of possibilities here, right? Where are these particular trees? Are they all street trees, or are some of them park trees? And as we know, there's lots of, this is what makes it very, very difficult to choose tree species, and what very difficult to get them to live is there's just so many different factors, and some of the factors might even be slightly different from one location to another, even though it's the same tree species. But I think it would be amazing if a lot more municipalities had, a funded position through a grant or whatever, to have a couple of interns to do this kind of data, and then you start getting a big sample from multiple municipalities in Metro Boston. It'd be, I think, potentially really interesting and powerful data, especially if it could then be shared with the nonprofit tree planting groups that are out there, the for-profit ones, and maybe even most importantly, the nurseries that are, growing the trees, so that if there are trees that municipalities really want for these reasons, they'd be a little bit easier to come by. There's a second page, so let me know when you want me to go to the next page. It's obviously there's far fewer of each of those planted, but
Real quick, I don't know if they gave you scientific name as well as common name, but silver linden, there's a silver linden that's from Europe that's Tilia, what it, Tilia tomentosa, and I just
okay,
looked at Go Botany, and apparently there's a pendant silver linden that's native, but what I've always planted and called silver linden is the European one. So I'm not
interesting.
sure
Okay.
if
Yeah, no,
there's
I'll
more
have to
info.
ask if they have that data somewhere else. I'm not sure why they chose to either do that or not do that with the names, but I can inquire.
Okay.
Um, I'll go to the next one. Are people able to see the second page, or do I need to reshare?
I'm seeing the first page still.
Okay, it's two separate documents, so let me unshare, choose it, and then share again. Okay. Hopefully you can see that one now, the second page.
Yep.
Okay, great.
And Rob, I'm sorry, you said these are all street trees, right?
I think this is a combination of street and park trees.
Okay,
I think this is just every single tree that they planted in the last 2 years.
gotcha. Okay.
Again, I don't know if there's any data breakdown of street tree versus park tree, etc. Although I do remember there is a chart that shows the overall mortality rate of street trees, and there is um, a separate entry for non-street trees, so park trees, etc. So, but if I remember, the mortality rate was nearly identical, which was a little surprising to me, but
Exciting. Serviceberry, only 10, but no mortality. Tori's pal, Staghorn Sumac, 8 made it
yeah.
out of 8.
It's really hard to kill those, actually. That's the one caveat. I love them, but that's
Good.
Surprising nobody tried to murder them by mistaking them for Tree of Life.
We almost did that. Malik saved the tree.
So yeah, I'm assuming that they will, I'm pretty sure they're going to continue to have these two intern positions. So what might be fun is a couple years from now, it might be 4 years of data rather than two, which would be even a better sample. And again, if I can maybe convince a municipality to fund some sort of positions like this or get some grant funding for it, it'd be cool if we could do it here in Somerville as well or elsewhere. So
Rob, soon after we talked about this, I found out there's an intern who is interested in maybe interning with the all the planning departments this summer. So I
no kidding.
have put on the table that this would be a cool project. So
Yeah,
if she's into it, I will be in touch.
yeah, that would be great. Cool. I can stop my share now if everybody's had a chance to see everything.
It's very cool.
will you
Thanks
go
for
back
sharing.
one? Or did you already do it? You did.
You want me to go to the first page for another minute?
Yeah, just for a moment.
Yeah.
I'm happy about the choke cherries. That feels optimistic. Nice. Thanks. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah.
And where is this information? Is this
This,
Cambridge?
I don't think this is this particular this chart, I don't think that it's on so they have a big database that's public database in City of Cambridge. I can share that with you. I'm not sure if this is on there specifically.
Mhm.
Maybe it will be at some point in the future though, if it's not, and I could even request that.
Mhm.
But they have all of their other data. You just go right to the city's website and you can get it. It's pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to dig into it yet, but I'm really excited to take a closer look to see, just to learn more,
Sweet.
you know.
Time for ongoing work updates. I see the first item here on the agenda is the recommendations for new mayor Jake Wilson. Did some folks meet to discuss that? Oh, Tori, you're muted, are you?
Yeah, myself and Rob and Marion met a few weeks ago and sort of took a first pass at organizing the document, kind of getting thoughts out that we've had in this committee. And then we have the document and there's been some formatting by Ally and some content added. So it's kind of, it's still in a rough, drafty form, but I'd say, oh gosh, can I share it?
You should be
On
able
my
to, but
screen?
Tori, I was going to say, I actually spent some time and I apologize for having fallen off the face of the earth. A lot of things have been happening even now that like I had technical issues with today's meeting. But I did try to format it in the way that I had suggested, although there are significant open questions, definitely. But I think that we could probably come up with a letter today, depending on how much time we give ourselves to do it and how we have.
So did you make a new document? Because I've been adding to then,
I saw a whole bunch of stuff that you added in purple, and
yes,
then you went away. You can see the purple in the version that I have because I actually kept most of the purple in purple. But yeah, you can see it's like basically just below the original letter. I just copied and pasted the entire letter and then sort of played around with it.
okay. Would you then want to share or shall I?
Uh so the basic idea that I tried to do, which is already what you had done, I just formatted it more intentionally that way, was to provide like four overarching recommendations with specific action points under each one. Each you had already started to put in boldface, but it was all still a bullet point list. So what I did was try to put like a little blurb for each, and then some of the things you can do about this are blah 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 blah. But that will all be self-evident when you pull it up.
Okay. All right. So I'm pulling it up, I guess. Hold on. Just give me a minute. Actually, would you be able to share it, Marion? Because I dropped my laptop, and so there's like a portion of the screen that I can't see. Um, is that
Just a second thing.
so my screen is I dropped my laptop.
Can I show? Yeah, yeah. I have done so much damage to myself lately. I am in physical therapy to try to recover like full use of my left arm now. Uh, anyway, so as you can see, so there's this, and then what I did was just I went down there and there's a couple of places in brackets where I didn't know, like I figured we should say something nice, some kind of just very basic, non-partisan, non-anything nicety at the very beginning, like congratulations on becoming mayor or whatever. And I didn't know quite what to say. But then everything I did was like I I tried to anyway. It might be good for folks to take a look. Does everybody have the link to it? Because if not, we should all make sure to have the link. Wait a second.
I don't think so. But I do understand that we all shouldn't edit outside of the meeting. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Wait, what is
You
it?
you can share read only, but make sure it's not universally editable.
Okay. So I don't, I think this is,
Click the main,
oh God.
if you hit the main share button, just to see that it's individuals with access rather than anyone with the
I
link.
don't know. It says, let me see, share. It's not
Just
giving
click the big
me,
share rather than the, like, click the little
oh,
people. Yeah, there you go.
oh, here. People with access. Okay, so we all need to be general access restricted. Yeah, so that's what it is now. But I should give
Yep.
you all
Yeah,
access
so you
too,
should be
no?
good.
So, oh God,
Or
the
just
thing
change
is,
it to, instead of restricted, you can do with the link. Sorry, go back for a
so,
sec. And
so everybody,
yep,
anyone with a link?
yep.
Okay,
And then don't hit, yeah, so see how it just is viewer? That's
commenter.
perfect.
I'll make it commenter so that people can comment
I
for
don't
now.
think we
And
can,
We can't
we're not allowed to
comment.
comment.
oh
If
wait,
we
are
all,
you now?
we could right now because we're in a meeting,
Yeah.
but we can't all be commenters outside of the meeting because that violates open meeting law. It's basically like having a written discussion outside of a meeting.
I think part of my hope was that we could actively comment now and then we can not be commenters later or something. I don't know how to do it, but like I don't know.
Maybe
Because
you
I'd
can
like people to be able
change.
to talk to it. Yeah. I
It's
mean,
possible you
this
can
this
change
belongs to
the.
Allie, not to me technically, but all right. I'm just gonna leave it as viewer for now, but yeah.
And then if
I
you
mean, some
drop
of this
the link you copied into the chat, then folks can, oh, wait, you did,
it's
sorry.
yeah.
Ignore me.
Yeah.
So what I did is I added a lot more content this afternoon after you had put what I had said in
Many of these things are actually yours anyway. You will notice, you will see them, but it's just some of them are like, but yeah, but anything that isn't there, like you'll find a lot of it below too. But yeah,
sure. Yeah.
and some of them are additional things like the collaborate to create outreach materials was something that like I think that we might want to do more education on people like how to take care of their trees, but I assume like that the tree survival and canopy health report track seems to be linked to the conversation we just had.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to incorporate everybody's input, which is why this is very big still.
Mm-hmm.
But I tried to at least make it thematic.
Thank you, both Marion and Tori, for taking the time to work on this.
Some language I added, but I haven't put it in the new letter is around or at least I don't see it um around food forests.
It's there, it's just farther down.
Okay.
It's under the community engagement stuff.
Okay.
There's a lot. There's so much that we have. Like we came up with so much material between all of us
Yeah.
that this is quite a rich thing. At the same time, there were some things like even just today's meeting made me wonder like whether some of the like there were several places there. I mean, you can see some of the question marks where I'm like, I just wanted to like go like, Vanessa?
Yeah, it's like in some cases, like I got into the weeds and I'm wondering like how weedy to go. But part of me wants to be like, I mean, exploring opportunities for food forests in our parks and underused spaces. Like, well, what does that look like? And then I wrote like pawpaw, raspberry canes. Can we get some
Oh yeah,
persimmon? Can we get some
some of
persimmon in
yeah.
there?
Yeah, it did that seemed that level did seem like that I didn't add because I felt like that was a little too detailed. Like especially because food forests are a specific thing. It's not just planting some edibles, it's like actually like inviting people to plant things that they can then go all eat. Like it's different. It's not, yeah.
It's okay. It's a thing unto itself that has sort
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
rules.
Food forests are sort of a thing that's somewhere between a community garden and planted raspberry bushes on the side of the path. Like it's kind of this, yeah. They're a thing, they're a concept that's been done in Boston. That's why, like, yeah. And I'm sure it also, even as I think about all of this, it's like there will be people who will objections to putting more rat fodder out there. Do you get complaints about that, Vanessa? With like crab apples?
I have gotten a few and I pushed back.
It's
How do you push back?
I told them that crab apples typically hold on to their apples and should be eaten by birds before most of them fall on the floor, and that they're not the main contributor of rat problems.
Good.
I don't know that they liked my answer, but that's what I told them.
Yeah.
I'll weigh in here super quick on this issue. I'm pretty deep into it with Cambridge. There is literally no comparison in terms of the rat problem other really than the trash problem.
yeah.
End of story. If we deal with the trash problem, which nobody really wants to do, there will be no rat problem. And deal with the trash problem means responsible, actual trash receptacles and park receptacles, etc., but also no food waste in regular trash. Food waste needs to go into rodent-proof compost containers.
Yeah.
Cambridge is getting close to that. I don't know where Somerville is exactly, but there's lots of rat experts out there. No one disputes this. So, anyways.
Can I just make a general comment about the letter? Um, yeah, Tori, you mentioned, getting in the weeds. And I guess I'm just thinking that if I'm the mayor and I get this, I'm going to be so totally overwhelmed. There's like 4 categories and multiple bullet points under these category. Like, I guess I wonder if it would make more sense to prioritize a few things. I don't know if there's a way to like add additional things at the bottom. I don't know. But, as someone who teaches writing and the effects that like lengths of things have on people's eyes and brains and whatnot, I just would assume that like this is one of those things where you're like, oh my God, yes, it's a lot and yes, it's rich, but I don't know that that is necessary that they necessarily want all that. I don't know that they don't, but I just yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
For what it's worth, my reason for doing the 4 overarching recommendations was precisely to do that. Because in my experience, the people who are at the top mostly read the boldface first bit and then they skip to the rest, or they're like, here, Vanessa, you read it. Or here, whatever, whoever, you read it. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I kind of don't care if Jake skims through most of this as long as he gets the key overarching points, number one. And number two, he sees that this is like really practical, interesting advice and passes it on to the relevant person. That said, I do think we could potentially be a little bit more selective or
You
more
could also
conceptual.
put a summary at the top of the main issues.
Well, I think that's the point of the little paragraph, of the little, like the 2 or 3 lines after the boldface.
Okay.
But we could change that into solutions as opposed to.
And when you say city manage, would it be helpful to demonstrate that you know which departments of the city are responsible for the suggestions you're making?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, and I think there's some rearranging going on right now,
Yeah.
for the different departments.
But if you listed the current understanding, it might help them to see the information flow that's needed to make this work.
Oh, you mean like the parties we kind of want this to reach, like PSAF, buildings and grounds?
Yep. And how they work together. Yeah, it shows, because it's very hard to know how things work together. Still.
I mean, I would say that's a really good point, and I lack the knowledge to be able to do like, and I don't even know how, like, because some of this is speaking to Vanessa, some of this is speaking to DPW, some of this is speaking to also like school department,
Yeah.
even like,
Yeah.
Conservation
and
Commission.
so there's like, but I'm not sure that it's our place to like say like the DPW should do A and so should do B. Because that is very in the weeds, and and I don't know. It's really hard. Maybe we aren't actually ready to, but I don't know how we can figure out a way to have a meaningful conversation about this. I mean, does the fact that we're having this conversation in the middle of a meeting affect things, or how does that? Because I do think that we need substantive discussion of some of these questions and some of these strategic questions.
Yeah. Rob, you've had your hand up for a minute. Is there something you want to jump in on?
Yeah, just quickly, I agree with Joelle, and I don't want to pit anyone against each other, but I thought Allie's version was really good. It was much shorter. It was very concise. There's no perfect version of this, but I totally agree with the point, again, as a teacher myself also. A one-page concisely written document, that's digestible. Somebody will consider reading that and putting some thought into it, and then if they want to dig deeper, they'll reach out to us or someone, and that's where all the specific details are going to get hashed out and figured out on some sort of a committee or something that might be formed with, working with Steve Nutter or something. But if we want to really get Jake's attention with a concise, specific message that I think could stick with in his brain, and I just think we go back to Allie's version personally. That's just my thought.
So to be clear, Allie's version was over 2 pages and was mostly a bullet point list without hierarchy, or with some level of hierarchy, but there was not even the organization. Like, so, and I'm not saying, you know, like, this is not a slight on Allie, but what I'm saying, like, I don't think that Allie's letter was written as a letter ready to be sent out. I think it was meant to be a draft that we worked on. There were additional details added to it. Tori added several suggestions for sure, and that makes a difference. And I added some more. But I don't think that sending him an introductory paragraph and then a bullet point list is more helpful inherently. Who's
Sorry, I
Tori,
want to jump in here
okay.
a little bit just because we have 10
Yeah.
minutes left.
Yeah.
One on a more like administrative question, Vanessa. We have the ability to download this document. Would it be possible to send, if people want to take one more thought at sending thoughts to Tori in the interim?
Yes. Yeah,
But the key
we
thing
can
here,
all
yeah,
make comments to one person. We just can't all comment to each other. So if we
I
want
think
to send edits or comments to just to Tori or just to Marion or whoever to collect them, that is acceptable.
And we
I
could do
think
like
for,
Tori and Marion and Allie.
I think 3 is okay. Yeah, for folks who are interested and do want to weigh in, I think the thing to do would be to go into this document now via the link that Marion posted, click download, and if you want to put comments or edits in that, and then just send it to one person here, probably Tori,
Okay.
and we can review. And apologies to cut this short. I just want to make sure, Vanessa, are there some things we definitely do need to get through for the 6:30? I know there's a
I
couple other work updates.
I definitely have something to talk about in outreach.
I just wanted to say one thing quickly before we completely drop this particular discussion, and it's that I think it would be very valuable to get Vanessa's perspective on this letter. And the reason I say this is because, um, you know, we, you know, there may be some things on which some members of this committee disagree with Vanessa or want to push Vanessa farther or whatever, but like we are all a team to a great extent. Like we are all on team tree and we are all on team like greater ecological, you know, just so one of the things that I would love is to hear how this letter could potentially help us nudge the new administration and potentially nudge the city council eventually, because we could, you know, copy the city council when we send this into doing things that have not been done, or into providing more resources for specific things, or just appreciating the potential for Somerville to be a real leader in things that we're not sufficiently appreciated in right now.
I'm
Yeah,
happy to
yes.
go
And
ahead.
just Vanessa, did you want to say something?
No, you can go for it.
Just to add to that. So yes, Vanessa, being able to weigh in, not all at this meeting, but part of the vision I was thinking was that we get a meeting with Jake and we present this to him. And for me, that's why the details are important, because we can just like, you know, talking about mowing less, for example, which is in the pollinator action plan, like mow twice, you know, every 2 weeks in the summer versus every week. And like I think we can go over these bullet points if we were when we get a meeting with him. And if, I guess that's sort of a motion I'm making that we do, because you know we're supportive of we're here to be advisors in a way. So that was my thought.
And I can jump in. I need to like digest this, I think, a little bit more, but some of the things when I read them, I'm like, I feel like we're doing pretty good on that. I'm not sure we need to talk about it. Or here's the caveat of prioritizing this is that something else gets deprioritized. So maybe it would be useful if you want my perspective, maybe we can like meet and talk about it point by point, and I can have that sort of gut or maybe gut plus some actual thinking reaction of why I think um certain bullet points may be worth changing or removing, or what the outcome of keeping them might be. And I don't know how this mayor works, but if I were mayor and I got this letter, I'm never going to be mayor, but if I did, I would just say, oh, this is a lot of cool stuff. Here, you deal with it. And so I feel like whatever is in this letter is probably coming to me anyways. So if we want to think about how how we can make it a useful thing, the most useful thing, then I'm happy to meet and think through some of these things a little bit more before we send it, if that makes sense for you guys.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. It's put a lot of work into, and I appreciate that. And it's great to have new ideas. You guys are a great source of new ideas and moving the needle. So I appreciate that.
One thing that I flagged in there, by the way, is that there are some things that I'm not sure are necessarily within this, like they're really valuable and important things, but I don't know that they're necessarily in our lane. Like, how you vet kitchens, like probably not directly relevant to.
So why don't we set up a meeting, the four of us, you two and Allie, right? And me, like in the next few weeks, and then perhaps take that draft and send that out for review before the next meeting from everyone, if we can give people more, like at least a couple of days to review it and then make comments. People might have more time to digest it that way. Does that sound like a good plan? Cool.
Rob, do you want in on that meeting, or anyone else who's sort of been in the orbit?
I've probably got too much on my plate right now to be able to do it in a timely fashion.
Can we move to outreach by chance, since we're running out of time?
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. Leah might have something to talk about with the Winters Farmers Market first.
Yeah, this should be quick. Just double check. We had a few people respond saying they're available. We are tentatively booked for February 28th, which is next weekend. I know Doris responded. She signed off, right? But I am not sure if she'll be able to join. And then Dorothy is a maybe. So I think right as of the moment, assuming no others can join, it would just be myself for 2 hours and then Suzanne for 2 hours. Which might be fine, but wanted to see if anyone else, and if that's still
I could
the
join
case,
for
because we
part of
might.
this.
Okay.
I could, I don't know, maybe I join for 2 hours that overlap 1 hour with each of you or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that could work well. And Suzanne, are you still down for that? That weekend? I want to make sure we're not over committing.
Yep, I'm available.
Okay.
Could you put me down as an alternative?
Mm-hmm.
Or like alternative maybe?
Yep.
It's just, yeah.
So I can gather supplies for you on Friday the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
I have not looked and found them, but I won't have time before that. So hopefully I can find them easily. If there's anything in particular you want to make sure is there, let me know. I think it's all in a box. It should be easy. Just the
Great.
box.
Yeah, I
If there's
think
any
in our
supplies you want me
streamlined.
to make sure I print extra copies of or something, let me know.
The residence guide, I don't know if you have any
Oh,
more
yeah.
booklets. They're
Okay.
they're a treat.
Yes. Cool. I have one other outreach thing if I can take the floor. Okay. The Sustainable Week is a week of fun events that the Office of Sustainability and the Environment puts on. It's usually around Earth Day, but this year there's too much going on that week, so they're doing it in early May. They've reached out to see if there's any collaborations we want to have, and on May 8th, they're planning, I think they're probably going to be doing party in a park, which sounds super fun. And I was thinking if we wanted, we could maybe make that our Arbor Day. I've found out we could get bare root trees shipped that week, so we could do like a planting event where we actually do the planting and we're there and have that be our Arbor Day, if that sounds of like a good plan to y'all. Sort of switch it up a little bit from our tabling focused event solo to sort of a combo planting and tabling sustainable week event. Into it?
I think it
Maybe
sounds
not.
cool. Yeah, sounds good.
What's that
Okay.
date again?
May 8th. I don't know what day of the week that is.
I think Porch Fest is the 9th.
So it's a Friday. So would that work for people to be doing something during the day on a Friday? I don't know what time the event would be. We could do it in like afternoon or something if that's helpful. Do the tree planting part.
Yeah, daytime on a Friday would work for me at least.
Okay.
I really like the idea, but I also think about like participation of residents is crucial too. Like if we're, if we have bare root trees to sort of get into people's hands or plants we want to share. Theoretically, yes, it works for me. I just I want to
Friday.
maximize resident participation. So
Yep. We did have good success with getting volunteers for tree planting even on weekdays,
okay.
but it might be a different bunch than our usual non-work day time things.
And our last Arbor Day was like on a Thursday in the afternoon.
It was like in the evening. I think we started at
Yeah, in
5.
the late evening. Okay. Okay.
Ooh, school student participation suggests Anne. Very good idea. Yeah. If it the party's probably going to be at Lincoln, so we could see if our Genziano students would want to come. We could time it like around well in the afternoon and overlap with when school gets out, so maybe parents could pop over with their kids. The party. So apparently, I mean, if it's a party, it's probably gonna have people. That's the goal. I want to give you time to think, but if we're a go, I think they need, I don't know if we need to decide right away, but they need to promote their Sustainable Week events soon. Do we want to think about it and like by next Friday I'll send out an email for you all to tell me yes or no by next Friday? Does that sound like a reasonable plan? Okay. And I'll see if I can get any details about timing. Cool. And if not, we can always do it later in June, or similar. There's also other Sustainable Week events that have tabling opportunities potentially. So if we want to table at other Sustainable Week events, that's also on the table.
And then quick question, for the farmers market, they asked for a like photo for social media. I was thinking we could just put our little banner plants on top of a photo of us doing something cool. Do you have photos, Vanessa?
I have
I was thinking like
like
maybe one of
one
us planting a
photo
tree or
from, I have one photo with the banner from Arbor Day, or a couple. They're not, it was kind of before we got many people around, so
yeah.
it's not showing the beauty of the event, but
Yeah, I feel like our tabling ones, it's like, do they want to see a picture of us tabling
or just us.
yeah.
Oh, you're thinking like you'd make a
I could make
graphic.
a little thing if we had a good photo or if people have ideas about other. But feel free, if you have an idea, email it to me just so we can wrap up here.
Anything else on the tabling and the event?
I think we're good.
All right. I might propose we skip the overview and startup question answering. That's all right.
I think that's fine.
Um, Anything critical on the species selection and planting protocol?
Nope.
Okie dokie. How about Somerville, Massachusetts is most wanted weeds?
I'm working on, I'm going to make a new draft and then send it to the Earthwise Aware group. I think I'm going to convert it to InDesign just so it's more editable long term, if that sounds okay to probably just Vanessa. But we can also chat about that later.
Okay.
Time.
Then we could talk about any urban forestry related job postings or RFPs.
I think we can, I did a quick scan. Tree surgeons are still posted. So,
And my tree
and then
planting bid is out.
sweet. And then yeah, the 90 Washington is an open RFP, which is of sort of interest. But I think that's it. Unless I missed one.
All right. Shall we move to approve the minutes from January?
I make a
Great.
motion to approve the minutes.
Seconded. Do a quick vote. I'll try to go alphabetically. Vanessa, is it uncouth or not technically accurate to do a vote by hand?
I think you have to do, it has to be
Okay.
words.
I don't want to risk non-compliance. Okay. I'm going to go in the order that I see folks in my square, if that's okay. Lori,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Marion,
Yes.
Joelle,
Yes.
Leah,
Yes.
Vanessa.
Yes.
I also vote yes. So it shall pass. Minutes approved.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in
Until
favor?
next month.
Yay.
Thanks,
Yay.
everyone.
Thanks,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Thank you. Have a good
Good
night.
night.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye.